Project HR, a podcast dedicated to building better workplaces. I'm your host, Beth Pilgreen. And according to a recent SHRM report, 92% of employees surveyed said that benefits are important to their overall job satisfaction. 92%. In today's candidate-driven job market, you simply can't ignore the competitive impact of providing employees with the best benefits package possible. And yet, the cost of benefits continues to rise. So, what's an HR professional to do? Find the best benefits options they can find for the lowest possible price, which is easy to say, but as we all know, it's a job that legitimately leaves everyone dreading the lead up to open enrollment. That's why today we'll be talking with Jennifer Perrera, the CEO of Our Benefits Coach, an employee benefits agency dedicated to helping communicate and educate employees on all that their companies do for them. Coach Jen, it's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So we know that our benefits packages can really make or break a company and a job candidate's eyes. What are employees looking for in a benefits package today?
Yes, employees, like you said, are looking to spend as little as possible out of their pocket. So often you'll hear them say, I have benefits, but I can't afford to use them. So not only are they looking for plans that they can afford to actually pay for, but then the out of pocket expenses that the employees incur, they're looking for ways to close that gap as well. So they want coverage, but they can't afford all of the out-of-pocket expenses. So the lower we can keep that for the employees, the much happier they are.
Sure, that makes sense. In your opinion, what are the must-have benefits that a company needs to offer to remain both compliant and competitive?
So you know what's funny is a lot of companies will offer medical insurance and then they'll just leave it there and they'll say that they're all good. The
Hmm.
number one requested benefit from employees besides medical is dental insurance. So dental insurance is very important. The second one is a short-term disability policy. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are only 5 states that have a state disability plan. Which
Wow.
Yes, which is California, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. So that means the other 45 states, if someone were to get hurt or sick outside of work, they have no income coming in. So short-term disability is a huge one. Maybe not that everyone realizes that they need, but that they do need.
And especially pertinent now, we are recording this during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I would assume that employers would really want to look into this now.
Yes. And I know, so here in California, we do have a state disability, and I know that they are extending that for employees right now. But in other states, if they get diagnosed, what do they get? Maybe they
Right.
get something right now from the pandemic, but in normal, if someone was in a car accident, they got pneumonia, were out of work for, 4 to 6 weeks, they had, knee replacement surgery,
Yeah.
anything like that, any kind of illness, there is no paycheck to someone coming in.
Wow.
Now, I will flip that on a little bit more. That is also super important, especially in the labor realm of benefits. So if someone is in construction, heating and air, plumbing, where people are outside, a lot of times employees, because they don't have anything, will go to work on Monday morning and then file a claim of workers' comp on Monday morning. Oh, I hurt my back. Oh, I dropped this box. Oh, I did this. So now they're filing workers' comp claims because they will get paid on workers' comp versus if they were out of work due to an injury or illness outside of work.
Oh, so that's like a workaround that people have learned.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
So this is a great way to help mitigate risk, not only on the benefit side, but also on your workers' comp side. And those who pay attention to their workers' comp, that could get extremely expensive just for the employer for every comp claim that is filed. So short-term
sure.
disability is a huge, huge thing that people don't realize they need, but that they need.
Yeah, I can absolutely see why.
Yeah.
And you said dental first. That I didn't even have dental with my last employer. So I can totally say yes and amen to that. I really would have liked to have had dental on top of medical.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Two other ones is accident plan, which helps with out of pocket expenses for any accidents on and off the job. And these plans are extremely affordable. Like that accident plan starts at about $20 a month.
Wow.
Yes, and that plan helps recoup expenses for anything. Now, although not all injuries are going to take you out of work, but you can even get a family plan. If you have kids, they get hurt out on the soccer field, cuts, stitches, broken bones, bruises, dislocations, and you're needing to go to physical therapy a couple times a week, those all have copays. And not only do they all have copays, but if it's you or a child, you're taking them, which means you're taking time out of work, which
Yeah.
either means you're cashing in vacation pay or you're not getting paid for the time that you're out. So
Hmm.
this plan pays you back for all types of accidents and anything related to that.
That's incredible and so affordable.
Very affordable, very affordable. And then the last one that I think everybody must have is a critical illness policy. Heart attacks, stroke, cancer. It is amazing how many people have those events occur in their life. And the reality is, health insurance does not cover everything. And the out of pocket expenses, the maximums, the deductibles, most people do not have it to be able to do that. And they
Wow.
say over 80% of bankruptcies filed are because of medical expenses. They're not because someone got hurt and sick and passed away. They're because someone got hurt and sick and lived. And the medical expenses is what gets most people in trouble to where bankruptcies stem from that.
Wow. Well, this is critical then it seems. I'm glad you just spelled all of that out.
Yes.
On top of these benefits, we're also talking about retention here, right? Are there any benefits more likely to encourage employees to stay with the company?
Absolutely. Once you get the team in place that you want, then you need to go deep and wide. So there is a strategy for attracting employees and a strategy for keeping your employees. And once you have the team, the first thing that you want to do is you want to start to provide a higher percentage of coverage for your employees. So if you are paying 50% of their medical, try to go up to 75%. If you're paying 75, try to go up to 85 or 90. And then the second thing would then start to cover the premiums for the dependents. It gets extremely expensive for a family of, 3, 4, and 5. So the more coverage you can cover for your dependents, your employees' dependents, is super helpful of getting your employees to stay. And then, of course, retirement plans, having retirement plans and options for your employees to invest in. And you've pretty much got your employees locked in to working with you.
Absolutely, because they know that they're taken care of with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And even beyond retention and staying competitive, when a good package of benefits are offered to employees, companies stand to benefit from just having a happier, healthier workforce, right? I mean, talk about the morale of being taken care of alone, you know?
Absolutely. And when they understand what their benefits are and what they do for them, they feel safe. They feel protected and they know that they've gotten that. I know for myself, we're a family of 5. That benefits plan is well over $2,500 a month for my family. I mean, that's almost a
Wow.
whole, yeah, that's almost a whole salary for someone.
Yeah, it is.
So benefits are crucial, crucial, crucial.
The biggest challenge, of course, particularly with health insurance, is cost, as you've already said. Health insurance is the largest line item on any company's employee benefits budget, but it's also typically the hardest to maintain thanks to rapidly rising premiums. How can a company contain healthcare costs and still offer a great healthcare plan, in your opinion?
This is where strategy comes into play. And I tell my clients all the time, A broker can just give you, all the rates are the rates. We can all shop all the different carriers. They're all going to give us the rates. The strategy that you implement is what's going to make the biggest difference, especially on the budget. And so, with using some of the supplemental plans, you can help offset those out of pocket expenses. You can also, if you are paying for dependents, you can do some dependent verification. Also, looking at your usage of your plans. What are you using and what are you not using? Sometimes a company is paying for a plan that their employees are actually not really utilizing all of the benefits and or the networks. So there are ways to go from a big network to a narrow network. Go a little bit higher deductible and then cover it with a hospital confinement plan. So there is strategy to that as well. You don't want to just look at, oh, here's the cheapest plan. Let me go for that one. That one doesn't always work. But you can use some strategies. And then also, depending on the size of your company, there are self funding options as well, where you can help as a company fund part of it so that if they need help with those deductibles, you can pay for that. But then if they don't use it, then the company gets to keep those dollars. So instead of paying the insurance premium, you keep that, use it to pay the out of pocket expenses, and then see where you are. So it's definitely for someone who's had it for a little bit, seeing what their usage and utilization is. And it's all about strategy of what your employees use, don't use, and how you can work that out for yourself.
Okay, so speaking of strategy, and you just kind of mentioned this briefly, but a popular tactic for companies today is to offer higher deductible healthcare plans that allows the employer to offer a high quality healthcare benefit while putting more of the financial burden on the employees. Does this strategy work for organizations and employee groups across the board, or is it better suited for particular types of organizations?
So you can use it in all types of organizations. The way to do that, though, is again offering that hospital confinement plan. So, for instance, say someone has a $500 deductible medical plan, and that plan is $600 a month per person that the company is paying. But if the company goes to a $2,000 deductible, well, now that plan is, say, $400 a month. So the company would be saving $200 a month per person. However, that just skyrocketed the out of pocket for the employee. Now, a hospital confinement plan you can get for an employee to cover the extra $1,500. So it's still technically about the same to the employee. And that plan might cost anywhere from $20 to maybe $50 a month per employee. And that's including possibly doing the family. So now the employer is paying about $450 versus the $600. So they're still saving $150, but they paid for this hospital confinement plan to cover that gap, and the employee still has the $500. So again, it's strategy and then also really looking at how to partner these things together and really make the package robust for the employee.
I mean, seriously, you just quoted some ninja work on strategy because that's exactly what it is. You just have to know your options and have the right person, I think, next to you to help point you in the best direction for not only the employer, but the employee. That's brilliant.
You're absolutely correct. It really is about having the right partner to help you through this.
All right, Coach Jen, right now we're going to take a quick sponsorship break. But when we get back, we're going to talk about creativity within workplace benefits, as well as how to design a company benefits program. So stay with us. Hi, thanks for listening. And also thanks to Proofbox for supporting this week's episode of Project HR. Proofbox is like Netflix for labor relations. Every video, every resource, immediately at your fingertips. Instantly stream the employee communication titles you need and allow members of your leadership team to do the same. Learn more at unionproof.com/proofbox. We're back with Jennifer Perrera, CEO of Our Benefits Coach. In recent years, companies are becoming increasingly more creative with the kinds of benefits above and beyond healthcare that they provide and the way they implement those benefits. Can you give us some examples of employers thinking outside of the box?
Yeah. So the thing is insurance isn't so simple anymore, and neither is life. Everyone has their own things going on. Some of the ways that I have seen companies get creative, not only in their benefit plans, having options for more employees, for young singles to young families to those getting ready to retire, they are all looking for different things in benefit plans. So sometimes it's having different plans that fit that. And then also in the workforce, there are a lot more people working remotely. And not only remotely, but you might have a small company that's 15 employees, but they're all over the country. So being able to have the technology and the enrollment systems to not only cover all of that, but then plans there. And then the creativity and the different plans being offered so employees have options. When employees have options, they are very happy. If they're stuck to one thing, it's this or not, then they get a little bit more disgruntled. So the ways to get creative are offering different plans, and you could use the same carrier for that, but offering different plans and then also using enrollment options to take care of and educate and communicate to all of your employees. One of the things I like to say is I like to help small companies feel large and large companies feel small. And so you can definitely work that in with the types of plans and the enrollment options that you provide a company.
And you don't have to have a Google-sized budget for some of these creative benefits, right?
Absolutely not. Some of these supplemental plans, also known as ancillary or voluntary, are actually employee paid. The company does not have to contribute to them. And like we
Oh,
were
wow.
talking about that accident plan, it's like $20 a month for an employee.
Yeah, that's so affordable.
Yeah. So when you have these higher deductibles and you have these supplemental plans that, are $20 to $30 a month, it helps a lot. And then the company can offer them and say, hey, pick what's important to you. I've got these 6 benefits or these 4 benefits, whichever one you want, go for it. And then they're able to have it payroll deducted, receive payroll tax savings, and it's a win-win for both the employee and the company.
That's really cool. Okay, on this podcast, we've talked a fair amount about generational influences on the workplace. Do you think that the development of these creative benefits options are a response to generational demands or more of a response to the rising cost of more traditional benefits?
I think it's both. I think it's both. Once it became that, for instance, the younger generation, and I'm going to put myself in there at that point, it was like, I didn't need to pay all this amount for insurance. I never go to the doctor. I just get my annual checkup and that's it. So to pay $300 and $400 for health insurance in my 20s was like, what are you talking about? That's
Yeah.
expensive. And then, like I said, my family is about a $2,500 monthly premium for health insurance. So these health savings accounts, these HSA plans, although they were already established with the Affordable Care Act and this legislature and all that stuff, that plan skyrocketed as far as popularity goes because it was something that employees and employers could afford. Again, couple it with these supplemental plans and you'll be okay. And then I also think for the older generation, for them, it's that option of the PPO, of the HMO, and where they're at. I mean, their plans are anywhere from $600 to $1,100 a month for themselves and their medications being covered. So the different generations are looking at different things, and that's why having options for your employees is really good. But that is definitely why this creativity has sparked, I think, for both of those.
All right, so shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about benefit plan design. What are the steps that an organization should go through to develop a well thought out benefits plan?
The first thing we talked about, especially someone who's just getting implemented, besides the budget, is what do your employees have now? Again, are they on their spouse's plan? Are they on a government sponsored plan? Are they on an exchange where they're getting a subsidy from the state? Because once a company offers a benefit, and so many employees don't understand this, and this is why it's so crucial, especially if they are on that state exchange plan. Once the company offers an affordable health plan, that employee no longer qualifies for that state subsidy. And once they no longer qualify, if they still receive that plan from the state, then they will get fined. The employee will, and have to pay that back. So if you were getting $200 a month credit on your health insurance, from the time your company offered that, they will have to owe all that back plus a fine. So you really want to make sure that you understand what your employees have. Not only that, but then you have minimum participation. So yes, people who are on Medicare or on spouses, those are qualifying. They don't have to apply, but generally it's around a 60% to 75% of your benefit eligible employees have to be on your plan. So you got to make sure that when you're offering something, it is affordable, it fits into what they currently have for the most part. Doctors and medicines are very important. So when you start to do this, you ask your employees, hey, do you have a doctor that you need or a medicine that you need? And when you find that doctor and medicine, you try to work within that network. That is extremely important. So I'd say make sure you know what your employees have or don't have, if doctors and or a medicine is crucial that they have. And that will help you pick out a plan because you do have minimum participation requirements in there.
Okay. So obviously, financial planning is key in this process. Who should be involved in developing the benefits budget?
The owner. The owner is generally the one who sets the budget. If you are in a larger company, then it's usually the controller. The controller, the CFO, is going to be involved with that process as well. So it just depends on their title and the size of the company. But yes, generally the owner and or the controller.
And do you suggest gathering employee feedback during a Your Needs assessment?
Employee feedback is tricky because you get a lot of opinions. So that's why you kind of want to stick to the facts. Ask your employees what they have, what they don't have, and then from there, develop a plan that's best for that. But if you get too many opinions and let them have too much on that, it could get muddy.
Yeah, that can get sticky for sure.
Yes.
Well, what role does your company's demographics play in these decisions?
Sometimes language is huge. So if you have a primarily like Spanish speaking company, or they speak Mandarin or Tagalog, you want to make sure that you have a benefits counselor or benefits specialist who's explaining these benefits in their language. That makes them understand. And again, when you're talking about employee retention and feeling safe and taken care of and protected, when they get to speak to someone in their own language, they feel so much more secure. So I think that is a huge part as far as demographics. And then also, again, your generations, young and single families, because like we talked about, it does make a difference in your plan designs that you choose for your company.
So, how critical is determining current plan use?
That is actually very critical because that's where, when we were talking about budget, what would be, how can you make the cost go down? If you have this big, robust plan and you find that people aren't using it, then you can make some adjustments. But not only that, plan usage can actually make your plan premium go higher the next year when they re-rate you. So paying attention, that is crucial. For instance, I have a company, they started out, they were about 30 employees, and the company paid 100% of the employee and the employee's medical plan. He was one who was self-funding his plan, because it's very expensive. So when the Affordable Care Act came in and took out some of his options, he's like, what am I going to do? I can't afford to keep all of this stuff. And so we were looking at the HSA plan and one of those supplemental plans to add there so that he could purchase for his employees. And when we looked at the plan usage, we realized he had a lot of diagnostics which were not covered on this supplemental plan, that hospital confinement plan I spoke about earlier. That plan didn't cover those diagnostics for that HSA plan. So him actually buying that plan for the employees was not going to be conducive. And then the controller was in the room with us and she's like, I don't care about that. I'm more concerned about this critical illness. So this employer, what he did is he gave kind of what we call as a benefit bank. He gave every employee a pot of money and he's like, here's, $50 or $100 and you can spend on these extra plans, whatever you choose to. And then anything over, the employee would pay for it, the difference. But if not, so instead of him sticking in and saying, I'm going to buy this one plan for you, and then they might not need it or like it or want it, he said, here's a budget. I'm going to give you this benefit bank and you use it how you want it. And every employee was extremely happy that way. So sometimes not only with the creativity, but the plan use, that really makes a difference on how you pick the plans. And this guy, this owner did a really great job of saying, here's the benefits, here's the dollars, you pick and choose what's best for you and your family. And they were very appreciative of that.
That's great. Yeah, that's great strategy right there. Once a company has made their choices, let's talk about communicating those choices to employees. How important are a company's benefits communication and engagement efforts to this process?
This is such a great question. And this is, I think, the second most crucial part about benefits that so many companies don't pay attention to. Educating and communicating to your employees is so important. And if it is not done properly, you will have very disgruntled employees. And it's not something that they want. So they will often, if they don't understand, will not enroll in what they need or what they want. I have found owners of company, once you get to, or CEOs, the C-suite of benefits, I will have found that some of them have enrolled into the wrong plans because they were too busy. They didn't need to sit down. They didn't need to have their one-on-one. And this company had a couple employees in different states. And so this guy's like, oh, I'm going to take this cheap plan. But that was the Texas plan. He was in California. So even the C-suites will need their one-to-ones and communicated because they will make decisions like that, not realizing they're electing into a different state plan or something else. So definitely making sure that you're communicating regularly and that the employees do have their one-on-ones to understand their benefits is super important.
Sure. Yes. Sounds like it. How do today's companies typically communicate benefits information to their employees?
Unfortunately, most companies will just have a group meeting that is not mandatory and say, if you have questions, come ask. And that's,
I can relate to that. Yeah.
yes. Okay, but let's be real. Insurance meetings, not fascinating, right? They're pretty boring.
They're not so super exciting.
And keeping it even more real, if a broker has 60 minutes, they're gonna fill the 60 minutes with info. And
Hmm.
so I get it. I get it. But the reality is people are not going to ask their private matters in a public group. And they
Yeah.
definitely don't want the go to the HR manager and tell them, especially in the smaller companies, that HR person is not always a dedicated HR person. And that's just the way it is, right? We're all doing more
Hmm.
with less, especially like in a plumbing company, HVAC company. The dispatcher is also the office manager, which is also the HR manager. So
You're right.
so again, that's okay. That's why I do what I do. I'm here to help that. I am an extension of that. And I am, their resource for that. So unfortunately, that's the way it is done these days. and most of the time. And then if they have what they call as a passive enrollment, they're like, hey, if you don't need to change anything, don't show up. You're fine. You don't have to do
Hmm.
anything. But the reality is, a year is a long time and things happen. And unless we are forced to sit for even 10 to 15 minutes to flashback of what did we experience this year? Did we have accidents? Did we have illnesses? Did I have a loved one or a family member or a friend go through something? What did I see? What did I experience? What did they experience? And what changes do I need to make, or do I need to make sure I am in a good spot? Because people forget what we have, what we don't have, and what we're going to need. So being forced and in a nice way for 15 minutes once a year at minimum, I think that is so crucial.
I do too. And I can say that I don't think that I've had that kind of attention and care in the past. Okay, in your experience, do companies utilize media very much to communicate their messages?
Sometimes they do. During open enrollment meetings, I'll notice that they'll stream out to their remote workers and or video messages that they want sent to their employees. So some companies will use a media source, yes.
Jen, how often should employers communicate with employees about their benefits?
At minimum, you have annually, which is open enrollment. But then actually every new hire should be seen as well and given that same process that employees do at open enrollment. And then every qualifying event, so marriage, divorce, baby, change of job, loss of job, anything like that. So any qualifying event, every new hire, and at minimum every year annual open enrollment.
Wow, that's pretty extensive, but I would greatly appreciate that kind of attention.
Most do. Most do.
Okay, Coach Jen, it's now time for a very quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Project HR podcast. I'm your host, Beth Pilgreen, and our guest today is Jennifer Perrera, CEO of Our Benefits Coach. We are back. So, we've just spent some time going over the process of designing a benefits plan. And I'm not going to lie, it sounds like a very time consuming process that requires a design team with experience and a lot of know how going in. That's where benefits agencies like Our Benefits Coach comes in, right? What are the benefits of using an outside benefits agency?
You're right. There is a lot that goes into it. And nowadays, it's always changing. So, the benefits of using an agency, especially like ours, is we're able to shop all the carriers. Not only shop carriers for pricing, but networks. So if not all of your employees live in an area, for instance, say you chose a Blue Shield plan and not all your employees live there, then when they go to use their plan, they find out there's not a Blue Shield doctor in network where they live or
Hmm.
next to work. So you definitely want to make sure that working with an agency that they're able to shop plans and networks. And then not only that, but you do want a full, robust benefits plan. And if you go just to the insurance carrier, they're going to just give you that. Where we as an agency have the ability to look at all the benefits, which are core and the supplemental. And we are the insurance professionals. You are the HR manager. You don't have to worry yourself about all of this stuff and the changing and the laws and all that. We take most of that all on, and you can rely on us, and we become an extension of your HR team.
That is so nice and seems like everybody would want something like that. How can outside agencies help with employee decision support?
We have a benefits specialist team. We have a team of enrollers, and actually, ours are nationwide. We can do them over the phone, we can do them over the internet, and one to ones. And when we sit down with employees, we ask them where they're at, what they have, and we help guide them based on what their needs are, on what plans would work best for them. Again, not only in budget, but network, and if there is a doctor and or medicine that they need to make sure is covered. So with our team and our one-to-ones and benefits counselors, they sit with the employees and help guide them.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. How can listeners find out more about our benefits coach and all that you guys offer?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you definitely can go to my website, which is ourbenefitscoach.com. And on there, actually, I'm offering 6 simple steps for managing budgets. So if you want to go ahead and get that for yourself, we've got that for you. You can definitely email me. It's Coach Jen at ourbenefitscoach.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Coach Jen, Jennifer Perrera, or give me a call. Our office number is 858-208-3505.
And as you all just heard it, you have all of the options to get in touch with Coach Jen. I appreciate you spelling that all out. Well, it sounds like partnering with a benefits agency or administrator can really help streamline that benefits design process, as well as help with year-to-year maintenance and adjustments. As always, listeners, links will be included in this episode's companion guide. So take a moment and sign up for it today at projectionsinc.com/podcast. It's now time for our lightning round questions. And these are questions we ask every guest of the podcast. Jen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Topic showdown. In this episode, we discussed benefits. In your opinion, given the choice, would you rather receive fringe benefits or the benefit of the doubt?
Ooh. Benefit of the doubt.
Me too. What's the worst job interview question you've ever been asked?
Oh, I can't even remember my last job interview.
That's fine. Moving on. What's your favorite thing about working in benefit design?
I love strategizing. I love working with employers and figuring out what is best for them, their company, and their employees, and really creating something that everyone benefits from.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The one I just told my daughter yesterday is those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind.
Writing that down. Thank you. Who or what inspires you?
People who continue to get up and go for it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We all get knocked down. We all have our struggles. And those who continue to get up and to keep moving, they inspire me.
I like that too. You got to have the tenacity to endure.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining me today on this week's episode of Project HR, Coach Jen.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Oh, thank you. I loved our discussion. And thanks to our listeners. And as always, don't forget to grab the companion for this episode at projectionsinc.com/podcast. To make sure you never miss an episode of Project HR, we hope you'll subscribe to the podcast. And we'd love for you to drop us a line, leave us a review, or simply rate us 5 stars wherever you get your content. That's it from me for now. Let's make it a great day at work.